Hi everyone, we are here in our BPM course and in third session we want to talking about the identification method. Actually, process identification method is very important for us before diving to designing process architecture or process modeling. We need to know how we can identify the processes or how we can identify the activity or task among and through the processes. We should distinguish uh, the input, output, task, activity is very important. So we need to familiar with this method. When we want to design process architecture, we need to know how we can distinguish input and output and the name of the process. And when we dive to process modeling, we need to know how we can distinguish for a task or activity that are related to each other and can include in a process. So let's dive into the methods. As you know, it's our methodology and approach for established business process management. Now we are in second stage, framing and identify, and we want to familiar with the identification methodology. The first method is data analyze. When we talk about the data analyze, I mean that we should the first of all, we should gather all of our data, not important, through the Excel files or anything, any other thing, not important, and we should actually look for the input, output, and any other data that are related to each other because they consist a process. So, or you need to gather data, and after that you need to distinguish input, output, and the data are related to each other. And after that, you can identify the name of process or a workflow or probably task is related to how much of data is precise. Uh, I should say that I want to introduce some method, and after that we will deeper in a most important method can be helpful for us in this stage. The next is documentation review. But which document you should review? You should review and read your procedure, your strategic document, your master data, and master list. Actually, master list. And you should know what your MIS because you need to know which software you have and can help you to know about the which processes are living in your companies or organization. So documentation review can help you to know totally about the processes and seems what can be happening in your organization. The procedure can be helpful for you to distinguish the task and activity, but actually not very precise because the procedure are upper level like activity like task. But when you design processes and you want to be very precise, you need to distinguish tasks through the processes. The next method is structured workshops and focus group. You should bring key stakeholder and SME, when SME means subject matter uh, expert, and discuss around their activity and what they do. We will talk about which question can help you. And after that, you can map out process collaborative. It's the another method, and you can design a special format. Then you hold a workshop. The first of workshop, you should talk about the process architecture or process model. Consider your purpose of this workshop. After that, you can help them to fill a form that you designed before that. This form can be like this: input, or what do you do? Output. Actually, you want to know which data or which document the this role receive, or what they do on this data or document, and what deliver to next person. It can help you to distinguish some processes. The next is benchmark. Benchmarking is very helpful method, but you should be dominant expert on your framework or reference model. For example, when you want to use APQC, you need to all of business area. You should familiar with process group. You should familiar with all of processes in APQC, and can help you distinguish all the processes. For example, when you talking about the product, you should know in which business area APQC talk about the product. In two business areas talk about the product. One is related to, for example, R&D issue, and other one is related to how we can produce the produce and deliver the product for our client. And talk about or you want to know which processes are live in your warehouse and store. You should know the which business area talking about warehouse and a store is number 4 business area in APQC. After that, you need to familiar with the processes, which processes APQC introduce, or other framework or reference model like SAP framework. If you want to use SAP, you should at first select your industry, and the next step select your industry by detail, and at the next you can see a business area and continue again to be deeper down. So benchmarking can help you to compare which processes are live in your framework and compare with your situation. After that, you can distinguish the processes in your organization and watch which processes exist in your organization. The next methodology is observation. When we talk about observation, is the old methodology, what can be helpful for us if we didn't access to any other methods. Observation means observing the different role of in your organization and business unit, and record what they do and their task and their duty, and after that distinguish the relative task and combine together and find the processes or activity or task. It's a method that can be needed more time. It need more time other than because you should observe, you should see, you should watch how they are doing their duties and tasks or activity. The next is discovery by process mining. As probably you know, process mining include of tools and techniques, and one technique in process mining is discovery. By process mining, you can discover a graph of process, not the name of the process, just a graph. So it's not suitable for designing process architecture. You can use for process modeling. So by process modeling, at the first you need to have an event log. After that, you should doing ETL for event log and import event log in your tools, can be any tools or software. And the next step, they will they will show you the graph of processes. So it's the next method can be helpful for us, especially in our era, because the process mining is a hot topic in BPM, as you know probably. And the other method is interview. Interview is a very, in my idea, is the best way to distinguish processes, especially for designing process architecture, and can help us to distinguish task by detail. It's very important for us to know any work, any job that our role are doing in your organization, and how are relative to each other, how we can collaborative stakeholders or different rules. Interview can help us. I want to talk about interviews deeper than, because interview can help us to design process architecture, can help us to process modeling by detail, and it's very important for us. Also, in the next session, when I want to talking about how design process architecture, I want to explain by interview and some step how we can design a process architecture agile in a short time. So we consider for our next slide. At the first, you should prepare yourself for the interview. Just one point. Consider when we're talking about interview, I don't mean job interview actually, because now we are a process expert or process analyst. We want to and we are looking for duties, name of process and relative activity and output, input, etc. And the next one is business expert or is SME. Remember, subject matter expert. We are talking about, or we are talking with a stakeholder. So I'm a process analyst, and other side is SME, business expert, or some stakeholder in our processes. The first step is prepare yourself for interview. Now consider some question about that. Who are the best people to interview? We need to know. We should talk with who is important, who know everything about the processes. At the first step, I want to consider we are in which steps of our actually BPM life cycle. If we are designing process architecture, it's different when we want to doing process modeling. They are in different level. Or when we want to distinguish our business area, we will talk about business area, process group and processes in the next session. When we are to distinguish the business area, it's different when we want to distinguish our processes. The level is very different. When we want to distinguish business area, we are in higher level of organization. We are on the flight. So we need to talk about with vice president or senior manager because they know totally what they happen in the functional unit of organization. If we want to distinguish and identify the processes, we need to talk about manager, business unit manager actually is a level lower than before. And if we want to designing process, we need to talk with a business expert or SME, subject matter expert. So the answer to this question is here. We should consider that we are in which level of our BPM life cycle. Process architecture, if yes, we want to identify business area or processes. Business area senior manager, process manager or lower level. If not, we are in designing processes. We need to interview by a business expert or SME. That's all. And the next question, what action should be taken to have suitable interview? As you know, you should know about how you want to manage the interview, or it is a meeting actually. You should know about how you want to manage this meeting. But before that, what action should be taken? You should know about the processes. Now, probably you need to search about the work. For example, we want to interview by a business expert in purchasing area. You need to search about how purchasing works, or read any documented in your organization that existed actually about the purchase. Probably you have a procedure about that. You have a workflow about that. You should know, you should read, you should be curious about that. Because when you drive to interview meetings, you need to control the meeting, and you need to prevent extra data, distinguish extra data, and help to business expert to be in line in your goal. Your goal is designing processes here. So it's very important that you know about the processes totally. Helps you to manage this meeting. So you should read procedure and document it about your scope, for example, purchasing, I said, and search about that, know about how purchasing can work, or probably you can read some benchmarking like APQC, SAP, or SCORE, or other reference moderate, ITL, TOM, etc. can help you to know about the processes before more. And then next, who should contact the first interview session? Answer this question when we talk on our first question. Can you guess it? Write in comment, pause the video, and answer my question. Who should conduct the first interview? It's related to your BPM life cycle and in which stage you are, in which step you are. If you are designing process architecture, you should talk with, for business area, senior manager, right? For process manager on lower level. If not, you are designing process modeling, business expert or SME, right? At the last, you should know what equipment is needed for interview. It's very important for us. It is better to record your interview, because probably when you are interview, you can distinguish something, or you need to review your interview meeting. So if you recorded your meeting, you can use again and listen again and listen again and listen again and find everything by detail in your interview. Okay, so after that, you need, for example, to note something. It's very good if you have a actually whiteboard, and you try to modeling processes on the whiteboard at the same time, and especially at the end of your meeting, and display the translate of everything that they say to you by BPM, for example, or modeling process on your laptop and showing on your on monitoring. It's very helpful if you can do this. I mean, at the end of every meeting, interview, display why he or she said to you, and talk about that can help to manage your time. If not, you should going to your office, and after that designing the processes, and after that display to the business expert, can be for business owner, and give their feedback, and review your model again, and doing again, and then for some time you should review and again actually designing process, getting feedback, review, designing process, getting feedback. It's not suitable. But if at the end of meeting you should display, actually you should design processes. Probably can be what some defect, no problem about that. Just show to the business expert or SME the result of your meeting. Is very helpful, and probably at the end of meeting they talk about extra important data that can help you to designing processes very precise. Well, what's very important to know which question you should ask, and how you can find. You should find everything by detailed processes. Everything, not just for process modeling, for process analysis for process, because you can't get you can't hold many times for meeting and just talking. You should create a result, you should create a value, you should create a achievement for your organization, for your business owner, for your business expert. So it's very important which question can help you to find. Three type of question can help to find some aspect of process. We should consider that we are talking about process modeling in this stage. The first is, what does your organization do and which role do you play in it? The answer to this question can help you to uh, design processes, I mean BPD, business process diagram, because you are talking about activity and role. And we know the process consists of activity and role, also other data like event, like gateway, we know about that. But here you can find everything that you need to designing processes. You can start by how do you start a work? What's your first step? And what's the next? When you deliver your result to next one, who is next one? We're talking about the question that we should find their answer in next 3 slides. It's very important because so the first question should lead to BPD, business process diagram. But the second, what recent issue or challenge have you faced? Why we need this data? Because we want to analyze the processes. I'm business expert, process owner, SME, everything that you want to name it. Know the about the problem and bottleneck of processes, because they are working these processes through the processes for 2 years, for 3 years. So they know about the problem of process. Probably they know the solution, but they are doing your work based on your habit, previous habit. You need to distinguish this bottleneck. You should discover the issue and challenge through the processes by help of process owner. This question can help you to find problem and issue around your processes or through your processes. And the third is about what are the influential factors on your work. How can help us this question? These questions can help us to find relationship between the processes. Is very important. It's very important. We will talk about process relationship in the next session. Don't worry about that. If we couldn't distinguish relationship between the processes, for example, after 6 months, after 1 year, we are working our established business process management, we'll probably be faced with many challenges, because the first step we didn't discuss and we create some island organization. What's a different process oriented and task oriented? We need to find relationship between the processes. Also, we know we need to distinguish relationship between activity, relative activity can lead to a special output, the meaning of the process, and we should find the relationship between the processes. For example, when we are talking about purchasing process, we know that the purchasing process is related with other processes that we name P2P purchase, purchase to pay purchase, is end-to-end processes. We should find the relationship between processes by finding answer this question. Now let's dive on the question by detail that we should find answer this question in our interview meeting. The first is here. Just I want to read this question. Some probably some of them is need to talk about that. I will explain for you. And if you know to, if you need to access this question, just type in comment and I send you. What is the purpose of process. In the third step of our BPM life cycle, we need to create profile ID. We need to know about the purpose and mission of process. It should be aligned with our strategic goal or enterprise architecture. What are boundary and scope of processes? We should distinguish input and output of processes. It's not sky limited. Who are customer of the process? Consider when we talk about customer here, it can be internal customer like our staff and employees, or external customer that we deliver our product or service for them. What are the requirements of these customers? Can help us to know our input. How is the general flow or circulation of processes? As we said, we should prepare ourselves before the meeting and now about generally about the process, and we are talking about generally process, and after that the business expert or SME can help us to know about the processes by detail. Which unit of organization are involved in this process? Can help us to know about pull and lane. We are talking about pull and lane in our BPM end section, and help us to know how we can create relationship between our business unit, because as you know, the process help us to know the interaction between our businesses, and how the process is horizontal. If you can't remember or don't know about that, just our video about the process and BPM definition. What's the BPM and process? Which process is this process related? Relationship between process, we talk about that. Don't skip it. Are individuals aware of their responsibility in the process? Who are the key personnel in the process? Consider we are deeper and deeper and deeper in process. After the end of this question, we can design processes very precisely. What are the input of process? Resource, document, informations, all of things. You should be curious about that. How do you start your work? Who will help you to start? Which document? But which information? You should be very curious about that. What are the output of the processes? Is the process effective? You find some problem, challenging issue through the processes here. What are the existing problem causing inefficiency? You can use 5 for example, when he said it's related to our resources. You should ask why resources, and so because we lack of employees. Why do you lack of employees, and etc. You be deeper and deeper, find the root of problem is very helpful for the process analysis. Is partial correction and change necessary? Now you want to get some idea for process optimization. What are the process monitoring indicators to ensure implementation and effectiveness? Clear? What are the monitoring and analyzing methods? Is this process a core process or managerial process? Do you know about the categories of processes? I will record a video about that, don't worry. Is documentation of process necessary? Think about that. Why? Probably we don't need. Why we need? Okay, we're talking about the methodology that help us to identify and distinguish processes and for designing process. In next session, I want to talk about how to design process architecture. This is a very significant method for designing process architecture. I will talk about a step by step how you can design process architecture by yourself. I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye.